Welcome to the JAMODI podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is JAMODI, just a matter of doing it.
Are you ready to level up your team skill development? Well, Bology is here to support you in driving accountability and skill development. The Bology app is more than just tracking. It's a resource for enhancing skills, knowledge, and mindset across your program. Join coaches all across the country using Bology to simplify training and empower your athletes. Let's build consistency, accountability, and skill development together.
When you have those conversations with your players about their faith, I'm at a Christian school, and so at a Christian high school, we can be upfront and honest and talk freely about that. And so a lot of our meetings, in fact, right now we're doing 10-minute meetings. First 5 minutes, I get to ask questions, anything. Second 5 minutes, they get to ask questions, anything they want. And I usually start these with, how's your walk? Like, tell me where you're at with your faith right now. And, for high school kids, their ability to articulate really what they're feeling sometimes is tough. But when you get a player that you kind of had a range of guys were in different spots with their faith, if you get a player that just really doesn't seem to be that interested in it, that part of what kind of, not what we're selling, but what we're trying to live by, what we believe. Because I think even at faith, yes, there's usually a faith requirement that comes in, but when they're younger, a lot of times it's their family's faith, it's their parents' faith. And then as these kids get older, they may not actually, have that themselves. What do you do with that type of player?
Well, I think it's a listen and kind of meet them where they're at. We're a Christian school. You don't have to sign a declaration of faith here. We've had kids from all different backgrounds and, different commitment levels. We are in Southwest Missouri, so it's a somewhat of a churched area. It's considered the Bible Belt, but yet, not too far from here. And Springfield is considered, crime, child abuse, those kind of things. So, you can't take that kind of for granted that everybody's, been in church or has that relationship. So, we take mission trips, and we've been to Guatemala, El Salvador, the Dominican, and those are mission trips that are serious, week-long, where we have opportunities to present the gospel. And so it's interesting, even kids that struggle to share their faith, we have each one of them do a testimony either at a halftime or at a clinic. And if they're not comfortable sharing their story or their testimony, then we get them to, hey, a Bible verse, your favorite Bible verse, something that you could share. So it's kind of meeting them in different places and where they're at in their walk. But ultimately, I think the reward is that they do develop that on their own. And being at a Christian school, we get faith in the classroom, at their workstation. They have chapels. So they're exposed to a lot of different mentors in different areas of the campus that are going to have an opportunity to model their faith with them. We do a retreat at the start of the year. We've got some camps around here, sports camps that have a lot of facilities, a Kanakuk places. And so we're able to start our season out there for a weekend. And, we have a Fellowship of Christian Athletes influence here. And so we team up and we do different activities with them. We've had kids get baptized out there, and that's the beginning of the season for us as far as our setting our standards and our expectations, and show them that we are, we're going to put the Lord first in our program. And I know that they're all, there's different, when they leave here, some of them are stronger in their faith than others, but it's kind of amazing to hear the stories of where different guys began their faith journeys, and it seems like most of them, at some point, it was a youth pastor or a youth event on a Wednesday night, even, where I know these youth pastors and people that work with young people may get tired, but gosh, I've learned that I always try to encourage the youth leaders because experience tells me they're the ones that get that first opportunity to catch them at a young age, and we know the importance of doing that.
Yeah. Over the years, I've had kind of like you, players with different backgrounds, different levels, or at a different place in their faith. And there's one player and this was early on at Grapevine Faith, where I just felt like I wasn't really reaching this young man, and I was stressed out about it. He didn't seem to want anything about what our school is about what our walk is about, and almost defiant in some ways. And my wife gave me some great advice. She said, Matt, just remember, like, it's not your job to save them. And I thought that was really good advice from her. But that it's not our job to do that, but create an environment, live it out ourselves, be there, like you said at the very beginning, be there to listen, meet them where they're at. What I didn't hear you say at all was that you slammed the Bible on their head and beat them into it, but without realizing it, I think it's easy for us as coaches to feel like, whether it's faith or not, that we are in this position to save kids. And I think we got to be careful with that mentality.
Right. Yeah. Trusting in the Lord that it's His timing, and we have them, and we have to take that role seriously. And it can't be about basketball only. We've had the last few years been a lot of changes here, and so throughout this, when things are maybe a challenging point, I always come back to my mission. God put me at College of the Ozarks. No matter what the changes that are going on, you still have a group of guys that you're responsible for. The Lord has reminded me, and my wife has as well, that it's those 15 guys, and it doesn't matter who they are. It's your guys that God has given you to minister to mentor, to help them grow in their relationship with the Lord, and so we keep that in mind as well.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the JAMODI podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.